Excellent. So my name's Steven. I work for Health Designs. We are a company that works a lot with Florida Blue to provide different health resources such as workshops, screenings, health promotion, education, everything. So my favorite part of this whole workshop is talking about myself, of course. So why I'm here today is I actually have a Bachelor's of Science in Health from the University of North Florida and am a National Academy of Sports Medicine, also known as NASM, certified personal trainer as well. So this is a topic that I feel very passionately for, that I do a lot of work in, and try my best to answer any questions that you might have. I like to think I can answer all of them, but I'm not going to go ahead and bite too much off. Cool? So what we're doing today is, my understanding is the first workshop of the year, which is actually fitness trends. So with this workshop, we'll uncover some of the top 10 trends that have been going around recently in health, as far as working out, exercise, and debunk a little bit of the pros and cons of them, as well as some of our different goals that we should be maintaining as far as our own physical activity too. Okay? So first thing we're going to go over is the benefits and categories of exercise, followed by physical activity guidelines, interval versus steady state training, pros and cons of 10 fitness trends. I also have a little bit of extra time at the end for some stuff that's not covered on the slides, but I feel is very pertinent information that really helps with goal setting and kind of achieving those goals in a realistic manner too. So the first thing, we all know our standard benefits of physical activity. Might look better, feel better, that's about how much we think about it. But these are actually 9 of the benefits of physical activity that we have. Weight management is one of the biggest ones people work out for. With weight management, it actually will help you not only to lose that weight as we're burning it, but you actually can keep it off and will burn faster by building the lean muscle mass that has to eat more. So with that, as the lean muscle mass builds up, muscle has to eat, fat does not have to eat. So we're actually making our bodies more efficient as we're going, increasing our basal metabolic rate or metabolism. We're also building stronger bones. As you're applying any kind of stress to the bones, they actually will have to strengthen themselves to keep up with it. So bones are constantly being renewed and reborn throughout our lifetime. And we'll actually be able to fend off some of osteoporosis by doing strength training in particular. Lower cholesterol. This one relates back to the kind of fat burning. As your body starts to burn some of that fat, there's less places that it can possibly be stored and that it can go to. Reduce blood pressure. Your heart is actually a muscle. Muscles love to be worked out. Your heart then loves to be worked out and stressed every once in a while. It helps it to build stronger and better. Lower disease risk. This is several different diseases as far as cardiovascular disease, pulmonary conditions, and it just really comes with any kind of a physical activity. Improved moods. This is one of my favorite ones, especially for people who work out in the morning, which is one of the things that I personally have tried. I loved it. I am not a morning person, however. And so whenever you work out, you're actually releasing a bunch of the feel-good chemicals into your brain. So it's helping you to maintain a better mood, be more productive, just elevated self-consciousness, everything happens from that, which is why a lot of people work out in the morning actually to try to help with that. Increased confidence. You look good, you feel good. I don't know if anyone played sports in high school or college, but that's sometimes the coaches would make you dress up on game days because you look good, you're going to play good. Easier to do activities of daily living. One of the biggest things that we have happen as we grow older is we actually lose the ability to take care of ourselves and accomplish our ADLs, or activities of daily living. By maintaining physical activity and making sure that we're taking care of ourselves, we can continue to do the things that we need to do for ourselves longer. And better balance. The vast majority of injuries in any kind of a retirement home or later on in life is you lose your balance, you fall. And as we age, falls become far more troublesome and very life-threatening in some cases. So with a better balance, we're able to actually prevent that from happening. So, components of exercise. There are 3 components of exercise that everyone thinks about, but there's also a 4th one. The first one is cardiovascular. So our cardio, which everyone loves to do as the only way of working out or burning any kind of fat. There is more than a treadmill. And it is true with prolonged cardio activity, you actually do burn the most amount of calories. However, you also have muscle strengthening. This is where we're going to be doing more of a resistance or strength exercises. With this, it's going to increase that muscle mass that we were talking about earlier and actually really help you with burning more fat, making your body more efficient in the long run as well. Flexibility is the most commonly overlooked. So one of the issues that you'll have eventually is, our joints just kind of get achy and don't feel quite right. By doing flexibility training, stretching, yoga, Pilates, we're actually able to maintain some of that flexibility and feel a bit looser and better for longer. And neuromuscular training. Your body does not just work by saying, okay, I need to do this, tell this one muscle to do that. It works by saying, okay, what's the most efficient way of doing this? As you're actually building up the neuromuscular system, you're able to recruit more muscles to do more things. So instead of just telling that one of the quadriceps, hey, I want you to do this, it's instead recruiting a bunch of other smaller muscles throughout the system as well. Components of exercise. So for this one, there are many different components. Each of them plays in, and there's not just one necessary way that we train at any one given time. Many of these exercises will pull in very different components into it as well, and each has their own benefits too. Got something bouncing on the screen.
What is it? See that virus again? What's that?
Sorry, something just started bouncing on the bottom of the screen, so it went away.
Cool.
Okay. So our physical activity guidelines, sorry about that, guys. No. Our physical activity guidelines, this is for the bare minimum, and it pays the most attention to cardio activity too. This is where a little bit of our bias towards cardio comes from. Here we can see that at least, with at least being the keywords, 50 or 150 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes a week of moderate intensity aerobic activity, or 75 minutes, 1 hour and 15 minutes a week of vigorous intensity aerobic physical activity. Or an equivalent combination of moderate or vigorous intensity aerobic activity and muscle strengthening activities that are moderate, high intensity, and involve all major muscle groups on 2 or more days a week. And this is what everyone thinks of as soon as they walk into the gym, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're right. I'll look at that and go, check.
I actually run through this every time I walk in. I'm like, all right, I need to hit my 150. So with this, we'll actually go over what is moderate, what is vigorous, and how we can attain that with our different heart rates. However, this is our baseline. So sometimes for more development of ourselves, we need to aim more for 300 minutes of moderate intensity. So, and also pulling in some strength and flexibility training as well. Strength training we want to do at least 2 days a week, flexibility at least once a week, so we can make sure we're well-rounded and not just focusing on that cardio activity as well. So this is the guidelines for your heart rates. For our heart rate, as we age, our heart actually will begin to have a harder time beating and will slow down a little bit. Thus why we have a varied maximal heart rate. The way we find that is to do 220 minus your age. So this does involve math. I was a health person, not a math person. I don't know about you guys. But on here, the simple calculation is to do, if you said 220, you're 40 years old, 180 would be your maximal heart rate. We don't want to go over that because it might be pushing the heart too hard. Then 50 to 85% is your target heart rate zone. This is the zone in which you want to stay for your physical activity in order to make sure that you're burning the most calories, being the most efficient that you can be. For that 40-year-old, if I can remember these numbers correctly, that would be 180 is the max heart rate. Half of that would be 90. So 90 would be the lower threshold of your target heart rate. And then the high would be 143, if I'm not mistaken, for the high end of the target heart rate. So, yes. Mm-hmm. So with that, there's a few different ways that we can tell. Many people have a Fitbit now, or Apple Watch, any of those little trackers, fitness trackers, that will tell you what your heart rate is or heartbeat is. If you don't have one of those, some phones have them embedded in them, or you can also feel your carotid artery right here, either for 60 seconds, get your pulse, or 30 and multiply it times 2 also. If you ever have issues finding your carotid artery, you can also find it on your wrist down here, and you'll be able to feel a little pulse too. So, and always use these 2 fingers because they don't have a pulse to it. Your thumb will actually have its own pulse that it can kind of interfere with it too. Has anyone ever done that before? Found pulse rates? So this is how we can find what's vigorous and what's moderate, because it will vary for different people. Many times, fitness facilities, healthcare centers will have this posted actually inside of them. This graph is an easy way to find your age and then the heart rate that you're in currently, where it fits in. Are we in healthy heart rate, weight management, aerobic? God, I hope that we're not in the red line zone, because that can be a little scary sometimes. And so this is an effective way to tell, am I actually doing what's best for me right now and able to sustain this activity? Has anyone ever seen this before? A couple of times? It's one of those things that you look at and you're like, I don't understand what that means exactly to me. All right, so the first of our two types of training, we're going over interval and steady state training. They each have their own benefits as well as their own cons to it too. We'll also go over different trends of each of them as well. Many of them are ones that you'll hear about today that have been very popular as well. So interval training is performed in circuits or intervals of activities and varies the energy output. Steady state training involves exercising at a continuous steady effort. So interval training, high intensity interval training or HIIT, Tabata training, and extreme conditioning programs or ECPs. With these trainings, the biggest difference between them is the length or duration of how long you're doing the work interval versus the rest interval. HIIT training will typically be, it is 60 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest. Whereas Tabata will be smaller intervals that actually can go as low as 4 minutes for the total workout, is the theory behind it. And that will be typically about 20 seconds of work with about 10 seconds of rest. So, and that's designed on the idea that you can actually have a full workout in 4 minutes. And some of
4 minute abs.
That's what I'm talking about.
6 minute abs.
I wanna hear more
That's
about it.
yeah, that's pretty much it. And we'll go over some of the pros and cons of our 4-minute abs. So Tabata training is going to be a little bit more like our fitness videos that are sold online, the different platforms coming through on the commercials, CrossFit, stuff like that. And extreme conditioning programs will actually have a varied interval to them. So sometimes it's 45 minutes of work, 15 seconds of rest, 20, 10. It's all over the place depending on the person and what you're trying to do that day.
Help yourself more food, guys, if you want.
So for our trends in interval training, we already did have the 4-minute ab, 6 minutes ab, whatever the different video is. P90X is going to be one of them that's on here, as well as Insanity, or there's another one called Rushwork or Rush. I had not heard of it before. But with this, it's going to be an efficient way to work out. However, it's not always the safest way as well. So in these, many times with those online videos, what they don't tell you is that by buying that disc that you can just put in and do at home, you already have to be in a semi-decent state in order to be able to complete their workouts to begin with. So if you're not already at that state, you could also be setting yourself up to fail. The most popular interval training right now is CrossFit. These are the different boxes or gyms that are set up. The idea is that you have the workout of the day, you do the workout as fast as possible, and that's your goal pretty much. Not always the safest way to do things. Many times they don't train proper form, or you don't have the individualized attention that you might need when doing some of these exercises that take years of dedication to get those different techniques down. And
What about Orange Theory?
so Orange Theory is also going to be an interval type. Actually, I'm sorry, that's going to be a sustained, because they're actually using a heart rate monitor. So we'll get into that one later on too, where that heart rate monitor is actually making sure that you're staying in that elevated zone, and those trainers are instructing speed up, slow down, doing different things, and they are insanely cardio-driven, very hard, fast-paced workouts as well.
People that can't do CrossFit do arms too. You know what I'm saying? That's just kidding.
Those are the two most popular right now.
You just cross right to Orange Theory. So.
There we go. All right, so interval training, we touched a little bit on this.
So you can run faster for young people.
Your pros of interval training, time efficient. If you are on your way home and you just need to stop by a place real fast, get about your 30 minutes in and go, this is a pretty good idea for you. It varies also. Your workout of the day in CrossFit's not always going to be the same thing, or your HIIT studio is not always going to be doing the same workout. And by doing different things, because sometimes it might be your different box jumps, or it could be doing push-ups, different Olympic lifting, it keeps you interested in it more so. Increases strength. Many times with our more sustained activities, we actually are doing more cardio, more so than we are strength training. So it's good for that cardio activity, but not necessarily your strength. Increases balance. When you are moving around very quickly, your core is engaged the entire time, balancing you. Improves aerobic capacity. You are moving fast. Cons, longer recovery. Since this is going to be a full body style workout and it is a very hard and intense design, your recovery will take longer. So those muscles will have the deeper tears. As muscle builds, it's actually being torn down, rebuilding itself stronger. Physically challenging. These are not necessarily beginner type of things, like we mentioned with the videos, how you already have to be at a certain level to be able to perform the exercises that they're asking for. Tough to stick with. If you are sore, you are not going to want to go back the next day. If you do not go back the next day, it hurts your self-efficacy and will actually decrease your drive and your willingness to stick with the program. And your injury risk. This comes anytime that you're lifting, doing an Olympic lift of a barbell over your head, and you're not necessarily trained with years of experience on how to properly balance, that bar will eventually be taken over by gravity. And with that, you also have some of them are just erratic movements where they're not supposed to be erratic, but in the attempt to get it done as quickly as possible, they end up being harder on the joints, jerking in different directions.
Injury. Or injury.
Injury. All right, trends in steady state training. My favorite part of this slide is how clear the two people's face is. That's like complete stage makeup on there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but.
That's funny.
So steady state training. This is going to be a more prolonged and maintained heart rate. Orange Theory is an excellent example of this. Cycle studios are another one, doing spin classes. And this ties in a lot more of our group fitnesses, where the group is really encouraging and kind of promoting while an instructor is able to watch and maintain everyone at about the same level. So things like our spin classes, Zumba, water aerobics are all examples of our steady state training, as well as a prolonged and efficient weight training regimen as well. So that will also fall into the same category because we're going to be maintaining at the same level. You're not typically, and then 5 minutes later, you're good. So with these, our pros are less recovery time, fun and engaging. I don't know if you guys have ever done like spin classes. The music is intense. And Zumba, everyone loves it. And so it is very fast-paced Latin dance music that really encourages a whole community to come together. Yoga would be another example of our steady state training, where people have the mental, spiritual, physical benefits of it. Cardiorespiratory benefits, many times this is cardio, so it is pushing. Orange Theory in particular is one of them that pushes you very hard in the cardio. Not as time efficient. These classes can sometimes be half an hour, 45 minutes. You might have to wait for someone to get off of a machine if you're at the gym doing weight training. Complex movements, some of them can be very difficult with Zumba. You are moving in 15 different directions to a song that is just pumping bass the whole time. Learning step sequences, again, Zumba with this one. It is a dance. So this is the part where I just want to interject a little bit more, but do we have any questions at this point? No?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. So one of the most important things when you're choosing a workout that best fits you, it might not be looking to what your friends or family do also. So with this, there are different variables that actually determine the fit and effectiveness of your workout. And the American College of Sports Medicine, or ACSM, calls it FIT, F-I-T-T, frequency, intensity, time, type. Those 4 variables determine how effective your workout was. National Academy of Sports Medicine, my certifying body, added on an additional letter where NASM says that there's actually an E at the end also, which is enjoyment. So it's frequency, intensity, time, type, enjoyment. With enjoyment being actually the most powerful of the variables, because if you're doing a physical activity that you do not like, you are not going to want to stick with it. If you find something that you enjoy, that you are actually able to really involve yourself and engage with the instructor, with the weights, if it's working out alone with your headphones in, whatever, you're going to want to stick with it, and it's going to keep you interested, keep you coming back for more. So with those, we want to make sure that we're paying attention to all those variables when we're trying to select any of these or other physical activity regimens for ourselves, as well as making sure that we do SMART goals as well. So the simple, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals that will set us up for that success in the long run too. We have it all the time where I'll talk to people and they say, you know, I'm only down 10 pounds. Okay, so you've lost 10 pounds, that's excellent. No, I want to lose 80. Okay, well, you've still lost 10 pounds in 1 month. You're doing great. You can't look at that gigantic goal and instead break it down, say, I want to lose 5 pounds this month. Then from there, work up. And so by hitting those small goals, you're actually able to keep that ball rolling by encouraging something inside of yourself that you're bringing out and getting that self-efficacy going that's driving you further, harder, and faster than ever before. So that's something that I just like to throw in with this as well, because it is something that's very important when we're trying to choose what's right for us, as well as looking at our stressors too, or barriers. Is it family? Is it time? Is it finances? Is it maybe I don't have the energy for it? And experimenting a little bit with, maybe I want to work out in the morning when there's less people in the gym. Maybe I'll find a gym in between my work and my home. So that way I have to stop in, rush hour is a bear to deal with. So let's just go ahead and hit the gym real fast. And eliminating those barriers too. So I want to go ahead and open the floor back up for questions. If anyone has anything that's been burning or anything that maybe is a general or personal thing, you can bring that out in front of the group or ask me afterward as well.
Just going back to almost chapter 1, it was the difference and interval between moderate and intense heart rate. Elevated levels, it was what was it?
I'm talking about right here, the moderate versus vigorous.
About 3-5 back. Oh, 1 forward. Yep.
Right here.
Next. That
Right here.
150 for 2.5 and 75 for 1 1/4. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So, and this is that one time back to, it pays a lot of attention to the aerobic activity, but tends to overlook the strength and flexibility training as well. That we still want to get in that strength 2 days a week, as well as flexibility once a week too.
Got it.
I do have a question. I can probably Google it, but the difference between yoga and Pilates.
Yes. So yoga is going to be, and it's actually funny that you mentioned that because our office did yoga earlier this morning on the beach.
No.
Very, very windy. So yoga is going to be when you're on a mat more so. There's various different types of yoga, whether it's hot yoga,
Right.
aerobic yoga, everything. Yoga is going to be on a mat in a stationary position for you, unless it's acro yoga, in which case it can be in the air. And then Pilates can be more of a resistance type. So where Pilates at certain intervals, they'll have a board actually where you have one foot that's stationary and another foot on a moving part, and it has little linking chains inside that actually will push out. Yeah, that actually increases the resistance. Pilates is also classified more so as a strength workout because it's doing more pushes and stuff and core work than yoga, which is counted as more of a flexibility exercise.
Okay.
So very good question, a very actually common question also, because those two are typically grouped the same.
Right.
They combine stuff like, they call it like yoga Pilates or something else.
I don't know. I'm going yoga relaxation.
They can be for men too. And so
I go twice a week.
Do yoga or Pilates?
Yoga.
Do you do the where they twist you all up like a pretzel, or do you do like the relax like?
I do hot yoga, so you
Oh, okay.
you twist as much as you want. They can come over and assist you if you like, but it's not like they're forcing you to do certain poses. Or
No, but there's different levels.
So we used to have free yoga classes on site here. We didn't have a huge turnout, but if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know. Send me an email,
Yes.
and maybe at least we can co-op it. We'll cover half the cost if you guys can, chip in a couple bucks per class. We can hold it up here once a week, but I think scheduling was an issue for a lot of people across departments as well. So if you guys are interested in that or something similar on site, let me know. We do offer gym subsidy as part of the wellness program. If you choose that incentive, you can apply it right now to LA Fitness, Bailey's, and I think the gym on Beach Boulevard. We're looking at adding other gyms, possibly Orange Theory and some others, but again, if you're interested in that kind of subsidy, let me know. We can take a look at other gyms and stuff like that. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good offering right there.
Yeah.
If you
What
guys,
is that? Like, what do you mean a subsidy? Like, is
So
there a
as
certain-
part of this wellness incentive, you get, if you qualified, you got $120 for the year, which is equivalent to $10 a month. And you can choose to apply that to anything, whether it's insurance, the gym, or any other health benefit that we offer. But initially, we used to give the gym subsidy away for free, but now it's part of the program. So. Does anybody use a gym subsidy?
I just
Yeah.
canceled mine because I was tired of paying for it. I didn't.
Well, there you go.
So we'll cover $10 of it, and then the rest can come straight out of your paycheck.
But it has to be those, like, actually.
Just those three, but if you have another gym you're interested in, we can look at adding if we have enough.
But LA Fitness is a deal, I mean, it's a deal when you say you're gonna work at Tom Bush, they give you a reduced rate,
Yeah,
and then
Gym's like $20.
it's a good deal.
I think Bailey's baseline is $10, so you can basically do the gym for free.
But if you do it
Incentives.
through work, it's month to month, and you don't have to do the joining fee or anything like that. So you pay your last month when you first sign up, and then you can cancel whenever.
and many of these gyms will also give you an introductory couple days or something like that if you say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm interested in joining.
Especially any yoga studio.
Yeah.
class.
That's what I'd like to do, like a yoga membership, but that wouldn't fall under this.
No, but again, first class is free, and even Orange Theory has offered me, we could invite all you guys out, and you could do a class for free. We could do it all together versus like you just pop into a random class with a bunch of people who know what they're doing. So we have that option as well.
It's always good because you also kind of perform a little bit better when you have other people watching.
Yes.
I think it's like, oh god, all right. So, but definitely take up any kind of subsidy that you might have or any of that assistance because it's a really good way to get you into a gym and it not cost as much too. Do pay attention to gym culture as well. So different people will react and respond better to different gyms. Some find Bailey's a little bit too intimidating. They like, maybe more of a Planet or something like that. Some like the Y's, some like LA. And so it all depends on what you're trying to get out of it too. And they have multiple amenities where some have indoor pools, some have saunas, some have racquetball studios, and really seeing what has what you're wanting to get into also. And so, any other questions? Thoughts, comments? No? Nothing, guys?
I lost 30 pounds this year because of the gym.
There we go.
Awesome job.
You're supposed to stand up, say,
So,
my name is Chris Dixon.
so wait a minute, so you guys work out at the gym. So is that like a Bailey's kind of, cause like what you're saying, like Bailey's to me is like, all, does anybody go to Bailey's in here?
Go ahead,
Small.
Steve.
Nobody does Bailey's in here? Like, when I hear of Bailey's, I think of like, the muscle heads.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's grunting and walking around, so like that's just.
The culture. The culture. I'm not refuting, but the culture.
Right. See, we used to have when I lived in Virginia, we had an all ladies fitness,
Mhm.
and it was just really nice. Like it was just it was just nice. You went in, you'd have the culture of it being like a
Mm-hmm.
But
dating website, and you could get in there and you could do what you needed to do and get out, and it was just nice. And they don't have that here.
Raise your hand if you're a member of one gym or more. One gym, anybody a member?
I go month to month to LA.
What about
Sometimes
two gyms? 3 gyms? Just curious.
I literally just canceled mine last week.
But just in the morning, there's no one in there. You can go, and there'll be no one there for like 7 till 7, 8 o'clock. You go at 5 a.m.
I can't do mornings
Okay.
because I have a
Am I
You
gonna
have
go
more?
ahead and close this?
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay,
Or
I got a question for you.
I don't know what this